Welcome to Living with Timeless Wisdom, the podcast where we uncover the enduring teachings of Seneca's moral letters to Lucilius. Each episode dives into a letter packed with insights on how to live a virtuous and purposeful life. Have you ever wondered how ancient philosophy can guide you through today's chaotic world? Seneca, one of Rome's greatest Stoic philosophers, left us a legacy of wisdom, practical advice for thinking clearer, living intentionally, and overcoming life's challenges with grace. His timeless lessons resonate with anyone seeking to reduce stress, live more intentionally, and make the most of every moment. Looking to dive deeper? Visit us at NotJustLiving.com for additional resources and tools to help you apply these powerful philosophies in your life. In today's episode, we draw inspiration from Seneca's first letter to Lucilius on saving time. Seneca reminds us that time is our most precious resource, irreplaceable and fleeting. He calls us to reclaim our time by being mindful, setting priorities, and taking deliberate action to live with intention. Let's explore how his wisdom can transform our modern lives. Imagine, if you will, that you're standing at the edge of a river. The water flows relentlessly, never pausing, ever moving forward, never turning back. This is time. It's always slipping away from us, and yet, we often let it pass unnoticed. Sound familiar? How many times have you caught yourself thinking, I don't have enough time? Or worse, where did the time go? In a world that's constantly pulling us in 1,000 directions, texts, emails, social media notifications, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. We rush through days, weeks, even years, often without realizing how precious each moment truly is. Time is a gift, but too often we squander it. That's where the ancient wisdom of the Stoics comes in. Over 2,000 years ago, a philosopher named Seneca wrote to his friend Lucilius about the very thing we struggle with today: how to manage our time. And let me tell you, the message he shared is just as urgent now as it was back then. In his first moral letter to Lucilius on saving time, Seneca didn't just talk about time management. He challenged us to consider that time is our most precious and irreplaceable resource. We can lose money, lose opportunities, and get them back, but time, once lost, is gone forever. He implores us to be conscious of how we spend it, because every moment wasted is a part of our life we can never get back. But don't worry, we're not just here to talk about what we're doing wrong. In this episode, we'll explore Seneca's insights into how we often waste time, and more importantly, we'll discover how we can reclaim it. We'll dive into practical Stoic strategies, things you can start doing today to make your time count. We'll talk about how to prioritize, how to cut through distractions, and how to truly live each moment with purpose. So, if you've ever felt like time is slipping through your fingers, if you've ever wished for more hours in the day, then stick with me. Let's uncover the art of using time wisely, the Stoic way. Ready? Let's dive in. Section 1, on Seneca's timeless wisdom. Now let us take a journey back through time, to ancient Rome, where a philosopher named Seneca sat by candlelight, pen in hand, writing to his dear friend Lucilius. In one of his letters, Seneca shares words that feel as though they were written for us today in this very moment. He writes, "Gather and save your time, which till lately has been forced from you, or filched away, or has merely slipped from your hands." How many of you have felt time slip away from you, like sand through your fingers? We wake up in the morning with grand plans, but before we know it, the day is over, gone, as though the clock itself were in on some secret we don't understand. We live in a world full of distractions, and often we're not even aware of how much time is being taken from us. Seneca's message is timeless, for he understood that time escapes us constantly, not only in grand moments of loss, but in the small, everyday choices we make. Think about your day for a moment. How much of it is spent on things that don't matter? How much of it is filled with mindless scrolling through social media, watching the latest shows, or getting lost in gossip and idle chatter? In his letter to Lucilius, Seneca paints a picture of time not just slipping away, but being actively filched, stolen from us in ways we don't even realize. Every moment spent without intention is a moment of our lives that is gone, never to return. It's like putting coins into a vending machine and not even bothering to look at what you're buying until the machine swallows your change and you realize you've paid for nothing. But here's the part that hits hardest. Seneca tells us something sobering but deeply true. We are dying daily. This isn't an invitation to despair, but rather a call to wake up, to understand that each day that passes brings us closer to the end of our journey. This is not to say we should live in fear, but rather with urgency, a sense that time in its fleeting nature is something too precious to squander. In one of the most striking passages from his letter, Seneca writes, "Nothing, Lucilius, is ours except time. We were entrusted by nature with the ownership of this single thing, so fleeting and slippery that anyone who can oust us from possession." Think about that for a moment. Time is our only true possession. Not the phone in your pocket, not the house you live in, not the car you drive. These things can be bought, lost, or replaced. But time, once it's gone forever. This realization should fill us with both reverence and responsibility. Time is a gift, and yet it is one we treat carelessly. We often waste it on the trivial, on the fleeting, on the things that don't truly matter. But imagine for a moment if we treated time the way we treat the most valuable thing we own. If we saw every minute as precious, as irreplaceable as it truly is. What if we became mindful of how we spend every moment? What if, just for today, we decided to stop allowing time to be stolen from us and instead took ownership of it, took control? We could choose to spend it wisely, focusing on what truly matters, our passions, our purpose, our relationships, and the goals that bring us closer to the people we want to become. So what can we take from Seneca's timeless wisdom? Well, first and foremost, time is fleeting and it is precious. It's our most valuable asset, and yet so often we let it slip through our fingers. But unlike material possessions, it's not something we can buy back. When it's gone, it's gone. And that, my friends, should inspire urgency in all of us. But there's good news. The power is in our hands. We can choose how to use our time. We can learn from the Stoics, take Seneca's words to heart, and apply them to our modern lives. We can stop letting time be filched and start using it in ways that bring us closer to the life we truly want. Now, this isn't always easy. In the next segment, we'll dive into how our modern world, full of distractions and endless demands on our attention, often turns us into unwitting victims of time thieves. But for now, I want you to reflect on something. How are you spending your time right now? What moments are slipping by unnoticed? And most importantly, what can you do today to take back control of your most precious resource? Think about it. Time is the one thing we can't get back, so let's make every moment count. Section 2, on modern time thieves. You've heard Seneca's timeless wisdom about time slipping away as though it's being stolen from us. But what about the world we live in today? How does the modern landscape, with all its distractions and noise, change the way we experience time? It's not just that time escapes us, it's that the very world around us has become a series of modern-day thieves, quietly stealing the most valuable thing we possess. When was the last time you checked your phone and found yourself caught in a rabbit hole of social media or emails, only to look up and realize that an hour has passed, or worse, an entire afternoon? It's almost as if time itself is vanishing, slipping away without warning, and we're none the wiser. This, my friends, is the nature of the digital age, a time thief of unparalleled stealth. Seneca, in his day, observed that people often waste the largest portion of their life doing ill, a good share doing nothing, and the rest doing that which is not to the purpose. If he were alive today, I imagine he'd be astounded by how much time we waste. Not in idleness, but in mindless consumption. Think about it. Your phone is always within reach, isn't it? The constant notifications, ding, 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 they pull your attention away, one message, one update, one post at a time. And before you know it, your time has been stolen, bit by bit. Here's something I know we've all experienced: the social media scroll. It starts innocently enough, just checking for a few updates, and suddenly you're trapped in an endless feed of curated photos and videos. What seemed like a harmless 10-minute break turns into a full-blown time thief, leaving you feeling drained, wondering where the last hour went. This is the world we live in, a world of constant notifications, pings, and pop-ups. We're plugged in 24/7, always available, always on. And it's no wonder we feel like our time is slipping through our fingers. the pace of life is faster than ever, and the distractions are endless. So what's the solution? Seneca might say that it's all about discernment. He warned us against the dangers of doing things that aren't aligned with our true purpose. We fall into the busy trap. We wear our busyness like a badge of honor, as though being busy is the same as being productive. But ask yourself this: how much of your time is spent on activities that actually move you toward your goals? How much of your busyness is just noise? Busy doesn't always mean productive. Being constantly occupied doesn't mean you're doing meaningful work. It's easy to mistake filling your schedule with filling your life with purpose, but this is a trap that many of us fall into. Seneca observed that people often find themselves doing that which is not to the purpose. Think about it. How much of your day is spent on tasks that don't add value? How much of your time is wasted on things that sound important or urgent, but when you really examine them, don't matter at all? The key here is clarity. We need to distinguish between what truly moves us forward and what simply keeps us busy. Ask yourself this question: what is the most important thing I could be doing with my time right now? And does this thing align with my deepest values and goals? If not, then, like a thief in the night, you might just be letting your time slip away without realizing it. There's a saying: the most successful people don't do more, they do what matters most. And this, I believe, is where the wisdom of Seneca can still guide us today. We live in a world that's full of distractions, sure, but we also have the power, the agency, and the choice to focus on what truly matters. Now let's pause for a moment and reflect. How often do you find yourself busy, yet feeling unaccomplished at the end of the day? How often do you get distracted by notifications or digital noise, only to realize hours have passed without a moment of real focus? These are the modern thieves of time, and it's important to recognize them. But once you've identified the thieves, you can take steps to guard what matters most: your time. So what's the answer? How do we reclaim our time in this fast-paced, always-on world? In the next segment, we'll explore practical, Stoic-inspired strategies to help us take back control. We'll discuss how to identify the distractions, make better choices, and create space for what truly matters, so you can start spending your time intentionally. But before we move forward, let me leave you with a thought to ponder. What is stealing your time right now? Is it the constant pull of your phone, the endless cycle of emails, or perhaps the feeling that you're busy but not truly productive? Take a moment to reflect. What modern time thieves are you allowing to rob you of your most precious resource? Section 3. On reclaiming your time the Stoic way. Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a great river, watching the current rush by. Each drop of water is a moment, a second of your life. It flows swiftly, never stopping, never waiting. And as you gaze upon it, one question comes to mind: how many of these moments have I wasted? The river doesn't wait for us to decide what to do with it. It flows on. So must our time. Time is a river, my friends, one that we cannot stop, reverse, or control. And yet, unlike the river, it often slips through our fingers unnoticed, like sand in an hourglass. This, as Seneca warned us, is the greatest tragedy. We must reclaim our time, for it is our most precious and irreplaceable resource. We've spent some time exploring the modern thieves that steal our time. Now it is time to take action, to reclaim what is rightfully ours. How do we do this? With the wisdom of the Stoics. Time is not something to be spent, like coins on a trinket. No, time is something to be used wisely and with purpose. Let's begin with mindfulness, an ancient practice that asks us to be fully present, aware of how we are spending our moments. If you don't know where your time is going, how can you direct it? A simple yet profound exercise here is what I call the time audit. For 1 week, track your time. I know this sounds tedious, but think of it as mapping your journey through the day. Write down where your time goes, every hour, every task. At the end of the week, take a step back and analyze the data. Where did your time slip away unnoticed? Where did you pour it into activities that didn't serve your purpose or your values? This is a moment for reflection. What's truly important to me? Let the numbers guide you, and let your heart decide where change is needed. Now, once you know where your time is going, it's time to implement mindful pauses. Imagine, if you will, a busy day. The to-do list is long, the tasks pressing. Amidst all this chaos, take a step back. Pause. Ask yourself, is this moment aligned with my values? Is this how I want to be spending my time? These pauses, though small, are powerful. They remind you that each choice you make is an investment in your future self. If it doesn't align with your goals, do you need to be doing it? But knowing where your time is going and pausing to reflect isn't enough. We must take decisive action. This is where prioritization and purpose come in. You see, Seneca reminds us in his letters that time is a precious commodity, and it is far too easy to fall into the trap of being busy without being purposeful. Lay hold of today's task, he says. How simple, yet how profound. Every day presents us with a fresh opportunity, a clean slate to direct our efforts toward what truly matters. Here's an exercise to help you bring clarity to your day. Values clarification. Spend some time thinking deeply about what truly matters to you, not what the world says should matter. What do you value? What is worth your precious time? Whether it's your relationships, your health, your work, align your actions with these values. Once you've clarified your values, create a daily or weekly plan. Yes, plan your days. But not just any plan. This one should prioritize what moves you closer to your deepest desires and goals. Write down what must be done, and then rank those tasks by importance. What brings you closer to fulfillment? What can be left for another day? Focus your energy on those critical tasks. But there's a key here, one that many forget: the power of saying no. Saying no is not about being rude or indifferent. It's about protecting your time, your most valuable asset. If something doesn't align with your values or goals, it's okay to say no. The Stoics would say this is a necessary discipline. It is far too easy to say yes to every request, to take on every task that comes our way. But this only dilutes the energy we could be directing toward what truly matters. So, when someone asks for your time, remember, you are not bound to say yes. Honor your own boundaries and learn the art of polite refusal. Guard your time as you would any treasure. And now, technology. Ah yes, the modern-day siren song, tempting us into the shallows of distractions. Technology, when used wisely, can be a tool. But if we're not careful, it can easily become another thief, stealing our time without our even realizing it. One of the most powerful ways to reclaim your time is through a digital detox. No, don't panic. I'm not asking you to abandon technology entirely. But schedule time each day to disconnect. Put your phone away. Turn off notifications. Take back those hours that are lost in the endless scroll of social media or the constant pinging of emails. Use this time to reconnect with what truly matters: your family, your hobbies, your health. Take it a step further. Could you schedule entire days where you disconnect? Imagine the clarity, the focus, the peace. Could you reclaim that time to do something more meaningful? So, here we are, armed with some powerful Stoic strategies to take back control of our time. With mindfulness, prioritization, the power of saying no, and the digital detox, we can begin to turn the tide on time's relentless current. Time is not something to be squandered. It is something to be seized, guided by purpose, shaped by our values. Seneca once wrote, "Nothing, Lucilius, is ours except time." Think about that for a moment. We own our homes, our clothes, even our thoughts sometimes. But time? It slips through our fingers like water, never to return. The hours you spent scrolling, the minutes you lost in distraction, they are gone, never to come back. This is why, my friends, time is the most valuable asset we possess. As we've journeyed through this episode, we've explored how time is so easily lost, how we fall prey to distractions and busyness without truly living. And we've discussed how to reclaim it through mindfulness, prioritization, saying no, and taking a break from the constant pull of technology. These are not just ideas to ponder, they are tools ready for you to use. But now I ask you, what will you do with this wisdom? Will you let time continue to slip by, or will you take control? I challenge you to choose one of the strategies we've discussed today. Maybe it's conducting a time audit where you track how you spend your hours, or perhaps it's scheduling a moment of mindfulness, a pause during your day to realign with your values. Maybe it's as simple as saying no more often to things that do not serve you. Whatever resonates with you, take action. Start today. Small steps, but decisive ones. Because here's the truth, when we master our time, we unlock something far greater than just more hours. We unlock freedom. We gain the power to focus on what truly matters: our passions, our personal growth, the connections we cherish. Time mastery isn't about cramming more tasks into your day, it's about aligning your actions with what truly fulfills you, creating a life of purpose, meaning, and joy. So, take a moment, pause and reflect. What does your time look like right now? What will you choose to do with it from this moment forward? The clock is ticking, but the choice, my friends, is yours. Remember, guard your hours as treasures. Time, once spent, is never regained. Live not in regret, but with the urgency of now. I appreciate you joining me on today's episode of Living with Timeless Wisdom. I am truly grateful that you took a moment out of your day to dive into Seneca's teachings with me. If something in today's episode resonated with you, I would love for you to share it with a friend. Let's spread these powerful, timeless wisdom together. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss an episode. For even more resources and ways to dive deeper into these life-changing philosophies, head over to NotJustLiving.com. Until next time, may this nugget of wisdom bring you peace and fortune.